Now let's look at who the third party candidates are. Oh, RFK. Hmm.
Yeah, I did not know that Mr. Kennedy was a falconer, that he hunts with falcons. And presumably he had brought back some food. I don't know what falcons hunt for, but presumably pigeons and rats and gophers. And he was carrying some of that, I guess, back with him to Westchester, New York, from the Hudson Valley for dinner. And he came upon a bear dead in the street, a bear cub. And he stopped and decided that he would like to skin the bear and save the meat and put it in his freezer, which is apparently 32 cubic feet. He said it was, 1,000 foot cubic foot freezer, but people have fact checked that. So he puts the bear in his car, and he goes on to New York City because he's having dinner that night with a bunch of guys at Peter Luger's. Now, Peter Luger's is not a typical restaurant. It is a bastion in Lower Manhattan. It is the premier big steak, big expensive steak, big expensive red wine place to eat in New York. And apparently it was the night was running long, and he's talking to his friends about, what am I going to do with this bear? He apparently had to get on an airplane and fly because he's got a house in California where his wife and his ravens, he raises ravens, live. Now, I will just say this, because I spent a lot of time in New York. There is really no direct way to get from Lower Brooklyn to Kennedy Airport, LaGuardia Airport, or Newark Airport by going through Central Park. But nonetheless, they decided the thing we're going to do is let's take the bear and let's drop the bear in Central Park. And I've got this old bicycle. I'll throw the bicycle on top of it. It'll look like a bicycle hit the bear and killed it, and then the guy ran off. And then I'm going to go to the airport and fly, I guess, back to California, wherever he is, with the pigeons and whatever else still left in the car. And that's what they do. And apparently they were drinking a very good wine because everybody says, hey, that's a hell of an idea. Let's go. Now, this is a guy who wants to be the president of the United States.
Right. It should also be pointed out that became a big news story, as I understand it, that it was a mystery that this bear was found in Central Park, right?
It was. And it was written up in the New York Times. And the person who wrote it up, reporting for the New York Times, was none other than John F. Kennedy's granddaughter.
Oh my God.
I guess his great niece or something, who didn't know it involved Robert Kennedy. It was a mystery story,
wow,
which was in the New York press for several weeks. Kennedy himself, by the way, is in New York today trying to prove that he is an actual New York resident because he used his New York residency on his petitions to qualify for the ballot. Four voters are alleging he actually lives in California, which is where his wife, Cheryl Hines, lives.
Right.
And it's where he keeps his ravens, which he trains to put poker chips in your pocket because, that's what every man does when he's not out falconing. And he is there trying to persuade people he's really a New Yorker. And if he gets kicked off the ballot in New York, he'll get kicked off in several other states where he used the same address. He didn't use his California address because he picked a Californian for vice president, and that creates constitutional issues.
Oh, my God.
So he's having a rough week.
I guess. And did we ever determine, was there any laws broken with this bear incident?
If they were, they had statute of limitations, this is 10 years ago.
Okay.
He was 60 years old when he did this, by the way. But the statute of limitations has run.
Gotcha. Wow.
But he did admit, by the way, that he often finds and collects and eats roadkill.
Which, okay, I'm okay with that. It's just this whole bear thing. And then he tells the story to Roseanne Barr.
Well, of course. And, Roseanne Barr looks like the same person in this conversation because you can watch her face going, wow, this is some weird shit. And he just keeps on going, like, if you found a bear when you wanted to skin it, you'd throw it in the back of the truck and take it home, put it in the fridge. Doesn't everybody?
Wow. It's just an example of the canvas of this political season because it's just a mess.
I think we have a new lesson that will go down that political campaign managers will tell their underlings and the people they're tutoring for years to come. And that is, when it comes to politics, don't mess with dogs, don't mess with cats, and don't mess with bears.
It has been an animal-like campaign season, without a doubt.